Great. My name is Natalie Shaquan. I'm an undergrad at UChicago studying astrophysics and English. And here I'm interviewing today Dr. Martina Gerbino. Martina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Martina Gerbino. I'm from Italy and I'm a physicist working on CMB science and in particular also for CMBS4.
Very cool. So can you give me like a quick summary of your research?
Sure. I'm more on the theoretical side, which means that I use the information that we collect from the cosmic microwave background, which is an ancient light from the Big Bang times, to understand both how the universe is made of, how it evolves, but also how the matter that we see around us is made of and interact with each other.
Very, very cool. So what is the most difficult part of your research right now? Like, what's the most challenging?
The most challenging right now is trying to understand how the data that we will be collecting with these very cool experiments, such as CMBS4, will be. What are the properties of this data? Because our experiments will be so much better than what we have seen so far. That also the properties and the quality of the data that we will collect will be completely different from what we have been used so far, and try to understand what the properties are, what challenges we can face is very important to have this information beforehand, because in this way we can really extract all the information that we want to extract from this data without worrying too much about cleaning everything from things that we don't want to see.
Can you tell me a little bit more? You mentioned that like the data is going to improve very significantly. Can you tell me a bit more about why that is?
That will be because we will be able to see features in this data that were hidden with the current experiment, with the sensitivity of the current experiments. Our noise will be much lower, that we will be able to extract much more information from this data, be more deep, and observe smaller and smaller differences in this data that will allow us to understand much more details about our universe and about the astrophysical objects that surround us. So it's something that haven't been seen so far, and this is at the same time very exciting, but also very challenging.
Yeah, kind of seems like it's like a turning point. So kind of going off of that, what is the most exciting part of your work? Like, what's very unique about it?
The most exciting thing, I guess, is the possibility to face challenges every day, which might sound a little bit weird, but it's not, because it's very exciting. This means that every day there is a problem that you have to solve in so many different ways, because you try one approach and that is not really working. So you might want to put yourself in the possibility to find another way that can face that problem more efficiently. So being always in this kind of excitement and research R&D status is very exciting, and you are not bored never ever doing this work. So that is the coolest part of the work. Mm-hmm. The other cool thing, it's more related to the possibility to interact with so many people around the world. This was true in the past, and it's even more true now that we have all the technologies that allow to do that, to interact lively with people that are not in your same institution, but there are in institutions all over the world. And that is very exciting, because you can really understand how the world is made and how different people think differently from you. So it's a very rich environment.
Mm-hmm. Just like a very massive collaboration on like a huge scale, which is really neat.
Yes. which is very cool because there are different people that are trying to solve the very same problems, but with a completely different point of view, and that enriches you a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's been really surprising to you about this work? What did you not expect?
I did not expect to, let me think. I did not expect to really travel that much as I did. That was true before the, of course, before the coronavirus. But I knew, and that was also part of the reason why I chose to do this job. I knew that it would have allowed me to travel and to know people from different places in the world. But I really didn't imagine that it was so much about traveling and collaborate with people and visit people around the world, do conferences and so on, which is again very, very cool and very exciting because I get to know so many places that I didn't know before. But when I think about my past years before the coronavirus, I really cannot imagine spending more than 1 or 2 months traveling, even small travels, but still it was really a lot about traveling, and that was partly unexpected.
Can you tell me more about like what is a scientific conference like? What happens there?
I don't think of a scientific conference, a place where different people who have some interests in common, because for example they're studying the same physics problem or they are building the same experiment, get to meet each other and talk about the current status of the work, what their achievements have been in the past, what they are planning to do in the future. And that is not for showcasing what you have been doing during your days, but is more because you want these ideas to circulate among your collaborators and try to come up with a joint plan. So the idea is to collaborate on something, bring your view, and also understand what the view of the other is in order to face the same problem more efficiently and advance altogether science more efficiently than alone.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. So can you kind of walk me through what a normal day at work would be like for you?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So the nice thing of this job is that you don't really have fixed hours, in a sense that of course you can organize your time as you wish, and this means that you can have fixed hours, but also means that depending on which availability you have during the day, you can decide when to start or when to stop. Depending also on the amount of work that you have. But usually what happens in my everyday life is that in the morning, I try to go through my inbox to see if there are any important communications that I have to reply to or to send. Then I have meetings with my collaborators, which are both collaborators at the same level, but also students. And more often I have meetings with students because we need to understand how to organize our daily work. Then I can spend some time working on my own projects. For example, write some lines of code or read a paper or try to understand and extrapolate information from some data that I collected. And at the end of the day, have some meetings with other collaborators for collaborations or for other individual projects. And then here and there, try to see if there are messages or emails that I have to reply. Lecturing sometimes if we have teaching duties, and listen to students. and that's it. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. You know, you get to do a lot of different things.
Yeah, that is fantastic, because you don't really have, I mean, of things that you do. I would say that every day is different, because there might be different priorities or different things that you have to face the very same day, that makes every day completely different from the others. So it's both a pleasure, because this means that you are not bored with some routinary activities. Sometimes it can be challenging, because you really have to be focused and try to keep your priorities and try to follow that. Otherwise, you risk to spend your day in so many different and cool things. They are all cool at the same level. So you really have to be very strict in understanding what needs to be done at that moment.
Yeah. Good organizational skills, which I do not have.
Yeah, totally. You have so much freedom in this work that you really need to be very organized.
Mm-hmm. So what research skill or problem solving ability would you say is the most important or the most useful in your work?
From my point of view, I think it's the ability to take a problem and being able to separate and divide it into small pieces that you can tackle one at a time. Mm-hmm. So having the ability to simplify your problem, your work, whatever thing you are facing at that moment in smallest units that you are able to tackle one at a time. After you have done that, the other important skill is the ability to connect all the dots back together in order to have the big picture. So this ability to zoom in and zoom out, depending on which stage of your problem solving activity you are, I think is the most important for a person that is doing this kind of job. I would say probably for any kind of job, but probably for research is one of the most important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So over the course of your research career, is there a particular memory or moment that kind of stood out to you?
I think that it's kind of weird, because you think that that when you study you really understand your stuff, but I think I remember very well when I really realized what the expansion of the universe really means, and I really understood. I don't know how to explain it, but deeply inside myself, I really understood that I understood that topic. It was clear in myself that I understood the meaning of that sentence. So that really stood up, because I said, okay, that is the thing. And it was not like I was repeating. Yeah, I was repeating something that I learned, but I really had the topic in my hand and had the possibility to explain it to other people. And there are a lot of more of these epiphanies here and there in my university career, that were those moments where I said, okay, that is the meaning. So, and yeah, I remember that things very, very nicely. I think they were important moments.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the eureka moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you say I'm really into the subject now, it's a completely different way of thinking from now on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is this what you always envisioned for yourself? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I think I had different stages. When I was really a child, I was into stars. I really liked to stare at the night sky. So when I was a child, my dream was to become a scientist who either was studying stars or an astronaut. Then I kind of lost that idea when I grew up and I was more into literary stuff like narrative and so on, classical studies. It grew up again once I approached the university years, because it was more a reaction to other people saying, it's not really for you to study physics or to do science. I think it's more your path in your life is more something different. You will not be able to be a scientist. So it was a sort of reaction to this mentality to start studying physics. And I had to say it was very challenging when I started, but then I managed to do that. So it's now I'm very proud of the choice that I made when I chose physics.
So outside of like research and academia, what do you like to do? Like, what do you like to do for fun?
I like to do many things if I had the time to do it. Sometimes it's challenging to find some free time, but when I have the possibility to do it, I really like to read. I really like narrative. It has been more, I think, of the last years to approach essays and pamphlets, so something that is not pure narrative. Historical essays, for example. I was not really into those until the very recent years. I like to listen to music, go to concerts when it was possible. So I'm really glad that they started again this year. Hiking and yeah, and walk around. I really like. I'm not really into running, but I really like walking. Especially when I'm in a new place, I really like to visit the city, for example, or any different place simply by walking and wandering around. Take pictures. I'm not a photographer, but I just like to take shots that I can watch back at home and remember of the places that I visit. So
Very fun. All right, that
yeah.
is just about all of the questions I have. As we're wrapping this up, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Let me think. No, apart from tell people, you say that the audience is more 8 to 12.
Yeah. So we're going for elementary, middle, and high school audience.
Okay, so I think I'd like to tell everybody that they don't have to be scared of this job. They don't have to think that this is too difficult for them to approach, that the things that we study or the things that we explore are too deep, that nobody else can do that. It's not true. Everybody can do it, and can do it very very successfully. So if you ever had the idea that it's not for you, I really encourage you to talk to your teachers, to your friends, to your parents, and trying to understand what is blocking you from taking this path in your career, if this is really what you'd like to do, or what your curiosity is telling you to explore more. I think that there are so many possibilities now to take information about this job, also to talk to people, to talk to scientists. There are many scientists, including me, that would be very happy to answer all the questions that people, and especially junior people, might have on this job and on physics and on cosmology in general. So I really encourage everybody to try to approach people and talk about their dreams and their curiosity.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Martina.
Sure. And thanks to you for the interview. It was a pleasure.